Hi everyone, so we're going to go through how I passed the advanced level ACA exams, okay? The funny thing was that probably I didn't spend as much, I felt like I hadn't spent as much time on passing these exams compared to all the other exams that had gone previously. Maybe at that time I was feeling a bit old and I was feeling, oh, I've had enough of exams, but still I was able to pass, okay? Maybe also maybe I had more time, perhaps. Maybe the revision was actually spread over a longer time. Maybe that's why I felt that way. Okay, but here's something that's worth understanding before you go to college, is that corporate reporting is basically FAR plus audit and assurance plus other information. Sometimes it's worth revising FAR, just the key concepts, some of the key concepts. That might be helpful, but you'll pick them up anyway when you go back. Understanding consolidation would be quite good actually, I think. And for audit assurance, understanding how you test particular areas and what can go wrong on an audit. Okay, how to improve audit quality and these kinds of things. SPM mainly comprises, in my opinion, of business strategy and technology, like understanding how a business is expanding, what are the risks faced with it, what are the opportunities and the threats. Bits of financial management, because you have to understand financial instruments like derivatives and funding of the business. And it comprises of bits of MI because sometimes variance analysis comes up. And you know, in FM, you never study. I don't think you ever study. You ever study variance analysis. So it's good to revise derivatives and variance analysis, okay, before you go to college, if you can find the motivation to. Now, for me, I think passing advanced level is having a really good open book, 50% exam technique, and 50% content. Okay, so it's being aware of the time limits, being aware of being aware of the format of the exam paper. Okay, so this is just for corporate reporting and SPM. Case study I'll cover separately. Okay, so corporate reporting and SPM are different from all the other exams that you've sat, apart from BPT. They're very similar to BPT in the sense that you have to spend a huge amount of time, a lot of time going through firstly the requirements and understanding how much time you need to spend on each requirement, and then secondly on going through the actual information associated with the question, the background information. And this links into real life, because in real life you have to have a full understanding of the picture before you reply to a client. And I give an example of an emergency ambulance. So I was walking with somebody and they suddenly fell over and they hit their head, and they were a bit delirious, so I had to call an ambulance. And when I called the ambulance, they didn't just come immediately. They asked about all sorts of questions. They must have asked about 50 or 60 questions, like has the patient ever had, is the patient on anticoagulants, those kinds of things. So they wanted to have a complete picture before they did anything, and did the right response. And that's exactly the true with corporate reporting and SPM. You have to read through the full information, because each sentence is telling you an answer. It's actually telling you a point that you can actually put in your answer so that you can get marks, okay? So it's about squeezing as much information from the question as possible, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, and SPM, I think you don't really need that much knowledge, content to actually do well in SPM, I think. Corporate reporting is about having a good open book, I think, but you pick up quite a lot of the material either in college or when you're doing exam questions, okay? So, you can pass these exams well. What I would say with corporate reporting is that in the question bank, some of the early easy in the question bank, some colleges, they tell you which order you should do the question bank in. Some of the easy, so the questions can range in difficulty. Some of them are really easy, and some of them can be quite challenging. So I think, make sure you're doing the challenging ones as well. Don't just do the easy ones. That's what I found, was that the later questions that the BPP etc. gave me were much harder than the ones that they gave me initially. Okay, so the question bank questions can really vary in difficulty. So before the exam, you must make sure you do real real past paper questions as well, or even before that, so you get an idea of the level of difficulty that's associated with it. Okay, and probably corporate reporting I might have been a bit overconfident on, because my mark in the corporate reporting was actually lower than the mark in the mocks. But for SPM, it went the opposite way. So I really did badly in one of the mocks, and then I really I stepped up a gear for SPM. I mean, I spent a bit more time understanding how to pass it and understanding the material. So I did pretty well in SPM in the end. And SPM is like having a mini. I think it's 2 questions if I remember correctly, and each one is like a mini case study. Okay, so you have to both of these. You have to really manage your time properly and make sure, to follow the same exam techniques, understanding how much time you allocate to each question. Okay, but there are a lot of marks to get, and I'm sure you'll get quite a lot of them. Now, case study is a bit different. Case study, again, is all about time limits. Okay, it's about understanding what you have to do. You know already you're going to have 3 requirements and 1 executive summary to do. And for those 3 requirements, requirement 1 I think is the easiest one. You should have, your open book should have the current year P&L and any non-financial information in it. Like, for example, how many clients does the business have, etc. So you have to have a good open book to do well, and you have to understand what's required of you. Second point I would say is you have to understand your time limits. Okay, understand the time limits. We've already said, and also I think obviously before each case study, you have to go through the information and prepare notes in it and prepare it in a way that's understandable to you. You can also bring the actual advanced information into the exam as well, and you can highlight it. But as you do from the mock exams that they give you in college, you'll understand what sort of areas can come up, and they're quite good. They're quite good at predicting what can come up. I would also say as well is that you don't have to spend days and days revising the case study. I remember when for my mock exams, I was given, each time for my mock exams for BPP, they gave me a different case study each time. So the first 2 I did badly because I didn't know the exam technique, but then 3 and 4, once you know the exam technique and what's required, how to present your executive summary, how to do requirement 1, requirement 2, and requirement 3, and provided that you have a fairly good open book for those exams, you can pass any case study. Okay, right? You can pass any case study, but obviously you have to finish all the requirements within the time limit, otherwise you automatically fail. So I think the key for me, which helped me pass my exams, was to do mock exams, was just by following BVP's approach, which was to do mock exams of different case studies before the case study came out. So getting used to doing the 4-hour exam, and then getting used to doing 4-hour exams for the mocks. Okay, but again, it's not about perfection. It's not about perfection. Some people will get perfect marks. Okay, but for me, I was just trying to get enough. Just put enough down really. Okay, and be strict with your time limits as well. My open book was fairly small. I mean, I had the advanced information. I maybe had a few notes here and there, but most of the information you'll have will be in the advanced information. Okay, you don't need pages and pages. And I know the name seems daunting, but case study can be quite fun. So don't be put off by it. I know it's 4 hours, but that 4 hours goes by quickly, and you can get quite happy. It's a really big relief when you finally pass. So hopefully that was useful. Some of this information you'll probably cover in college. This is my own perspective on it. I think that for case study, you can pass if you know how to pass 1 case study. Okay, you can pass all of them, right? And that's all I've got to say really. So I hope that was useful, and as always, just let me know what you think of these videos, if you find them useful or not. So just to, I think, to really summarize, the difference between between advanced level and the other exams is firstly is just being an all-rounder, is dealing with all the requirements and having a balanced answer. And the second difference, I think, is that you have to spend more time reviewing the background information. Okay, you don't just go launching into it. You have to have a full picture. Okay, imagine David Brent doing a picture of the world. Okay, and that's all I've got to say, guys. Hope that was useful, and as always, do subscribe and hit the bell icon. Take care, Garnier.